Hello everyone, I hope all of you are well. I'm sitting here in my practice room and I wanted to make a lesson on the technique that I use when I play the walking bass lines. And I actually have a video lesson on this on my website on the subject walking bass lines. But that video is like a 40-minute lesson which you can purchase, and it's actually about more how I find the notes and how I actually approach a chord progression and the different ways to find a good sounding bass line and the theory behind that. So it's more like finding the notes. But this video is going to be a lesson on the techniques of this style. So how I get the sound, how I get the progression to swing and the right hand and left hand technique. So I heard Tommy Emmanuel play this when I was probably, I think it was 10 years ago. I heard Tommy and all those great fingerstyle players use this technique where they actually get the bass line as well as like a percussive sound, which creates almost like a trio sound. Where you have the bass player, the upright bass player, and the drummer, and also the piano player. So that's the idea of this little lesson. I'm going to show you just a few techniques on how you can do this. So first of all, I'm gonna just teach you a simple chord progression where I will, I will use this chord progression when I teach this stuff. So the chords that we're gonna use first of all is A minor 7, which looks like that. So that's how I grab the chord. You can also just use the index finger on the 5th fret like that. So I play on the right hand. I use the thumb here on the A string and then D, G, and B string. So yeah, the notes are A and then G, C, and E, and it's the 5th fret of the A string, 5th fret of the D string, 5th fret of the G string, and 5th fret of the B string. That's the A minor 7, and then we have the D9 or D7. We can use any chord, any chord of. I usually it's the D7 sound, but you can also use the D9 sound, and the next chord is G major 7. So actually the D7, D9, you can use the sharp 9, flat 9 too when we go into G. But anyways, I will teach this chord first. So second finger here on the 5th fret of the A string, index finger on the 4th fret of the D string, and then ring finger, I use that finger to bar those 3 high strings on the 5th fret. So you can also just play those 2 strings, the G string and E string here on the 5th fret. So you get this D9 sound, or this D7 sound, which you probably are familiar with. And then we go into the G major 7, which is this chord. So just tuning it up here. Okay, so we have the 3rd fret of the E string and the 4th fret of the D and G string, and then the 3rd fret of the B string, G major 7. Okay, and the last chord of this progression is E7 sharp 9 or E7. You can use E7, but I will use this sound, which is like is the Jimi Hendrix sound, right? So we have the 2nd finger on the 7th fret of the A string, index finger on the 6th fret of the D string, ring finger on the 7th fret of the G string, and a pinky on the 8th fret of the B string. And that's an interesting chord because it actually has both the major 7 and the minor 7. So it's kind of like both major and minor sounds. But that's the cool thing with this chord. You can, if I play the sharp 9, which is actually just it's the minor 3rd too. It's the same note. So, and I play the major 3rd too, which is here. If you hear just those two sounds, those 2 notes, it sounds like that. It clashes, right? But if you hear it together with the chord, it creates this tension, which is nice. It's funky. So I'll show you another cool sharp 9 sound, which is this chord. This actually has the sharp 5 too. So we have the E string here, and then we have the major third on the 6th fret of the D string. Then we have the C note here on the, it's actually a B sharp, because we actually have the sharp 5, so it's the 5th fret of the G string. And then we have the index finger barring the 2 top strings here on the 3rd fret, so we get those 2 notes, which is D and G, which is the sharp 9 on top. So we have this sound, kind of the same as, right? But here you have the sharp 5 too, so it's a nice sound. And you can make a bass line like the G sharp in the bass, and then you go to A minor. So you have, that's a nice sound. But anyways, any E7 chord will work. You know, all those sounds. Because we're going to A minor. So the 4 chords are it's actually 1 chord per bar. So we have 4 beats per bar. The time signature is 4/4, so we count to 4 in every bar, and we have 1 chord per bar. So A minor 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. D7 or D9, 1, 2, 3, 4. G major 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then E7 sharp 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I'm just gonna tune it. And I'm back in tune. Okay, so A minor 7, D7, G major 7, E7 sharp 9. 1 chord per bar. So if I don't play a bass line, I just play the same bass note every beat. It sounds like this: 3, 4. Okay, now we're gonna play a bass line, and we're gonna use this technique where we actually hit the string. So to get that percussive sound, it's like this. If you listen to this, if I just hit the string with my index finger like that, you can hear a clicking sound, and that clicking sound is created from the string attacking, or landing on the fretboard, so on the frets. So that's how we get the click sound. And if I hit the guitar like that, I actually hear that clicking sound. And if you're plugged into a PA, you can hear that clicking sound even more. So it kind of, sounds like a snare almost. So it's a click, If you plug it in and have a good microphone, you will hear that clicking sound. So, and the cool thing with this is if you use the thumb pick, you can use this without you can get this sound without a thumb pick too. But I prefer a thumb pick; it's easier. So when I hit if I play the A note on the 5th fret of the E string, I just press down here and I hit the string with my thumb in a relaxed way. I don't. It's no tension here. I don't like. I don't. Really. Have any tension here. I'm very relaxed in the hand, and I just hit the string like this. And then you can actually hear the sound of the string hitting the fretboard, but also you hear the note, the bass note, right? And if you're plugged in, this will actually, this bass note will come through the PA, and it will sound, you both get the click sound and you also get the bass note. So what we do is that we practice this on 1 note. So if we have a 4/4 time signature, we count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on beat 2 and 4, we have this clicking sound. So the first beat is just like this. And then the second beat, we're going to try to get that sound. So 1. That didn't sound very well. I'll try it again. So you can hear it. So it's, and the third beat is just a regular note again, just without the clicking sound. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you actually, we have 1 bar there, and I will increase the tempo a little bit, so it sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. And I actually, subconsciously, I think I hit this part of the guitar. I hit this part of the guitar here with the palm on my hand at the same time as I do the clicking sound. So, and that's something that I just subconsciously do, I think. And a good thing with that is when you're plugged into the PA, the microphone is underneath here, and also there's a microphone inside. So when I hit the guitar like that, you also get that boom sound, you know, where you also have the click, but also doom, which you can't really hear now. So it's that sound, you know, when you're plugged in. So it's even bigger than just the clicking sound. It's also, you know, like almost like a I don't know, a bass drum or something. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how you can practice it. You can just practice that over and over really slowly to get that sound. And this takes a while. This takes a while to get it to work. You need to be relaxed in your hand and don't tense up too much, you know. And then we can just approach this. We can approach this chord progression and play A minor 7 going to D minor, and we create a bass line sounding like this, something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have. And then we land on the D7. So that bass line, I'm gonna use that bass line, and I'm gonna use the clicking sound on beat 2 and 4. I'll show you what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the tricky thing is, you see that I change strings, but I still get that clicking sound. So that means that I need to, you know, really know where my hand are so that I can get that clicking sound on the A string. I need to be able to do that. So my hand can't go too much like this, you know, way up here. I kind of have the hand in a controlled, you know, position like here, right here. And you could hear that I get both the bass line and the clicking sound. Okay, so and this is the way to practice really slow. You can take a metronome and you can put that on like maybe, I don't know, maybe 66 beats per minute. And then if you have the metronome like this, you can actually count 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So you actually have the metronome on 2 and 4, and that means that the clicking sound you're gonna do on your guitar is actually on the same beat as the metronome. That's a good practice tool. So you do this. So 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the goal is to almost not hear the metronome, so you're right on time. It's difficult, but it's a great practice to do this. So, and also it can be a great thing to put that metronome on 2 and 4 when you're practicing a solo, you know, when you're practicing improvising over in a swing feel, because then when the metronome is on 2 and 4, it feels more like a swing beat, you know, it feels more like a drummer. So instead of putting it on 1 and 3 like this, if I think about it like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a different thing. But if you do like this, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you get more like a drummer, you know, drumming feel. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you have a different, you know, kind of feel when you play improvise. So that's the great thing with the moving bass line as well. You can really practice the moving bass lines in a good way on if you put the metronome on 2 and 4. So I'm gonna play the moving bass lines on those 4 chords, you know, A minor 7, D9 or D7, G major 7, and then E7 sharp 9, back to A minor. And I'm gonna play that progression a few times really slow and in a different, you know, different ways, different bass lines. Like my other video focuses on what bass lines. Now I'm just gonna play some bass lines and focus on the technique so you can hear the technique really slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then back. So that's one way of playing this, you know, and I'll do it real in a faster tempo so you can hear how that sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like that. So now we and you can see that I used those chords, but I played it in different places on the neck. You can play any chords, you know, any versions or inversions or whatever on those chords when you do this, of course. So I played A minor sometimes up here, D7, G major 7 up here, or G6 9, E7 flat 9, A minor 7 here maybe, D7 maybe here, or D13, G major 7, E7 sharp 9, sharp 5, maybe A minor 7 here, something like this, D7 flat 9, G6 9, E7 sharp flat 9, A minor 7, D13 with a flat 9, G major 7 with a third in the bass, major 9 with a third in the bass, E7 with a sharp 9 and sharp 5. All those chords, I can do any, you know, you can use any jazz chords, but so that's a cool thing. But start with the simple forms of chords, which always, you know, they usually sound the best, the simple chords. So yeah, so that's what I focus on with the right hand. So you click, you have the clicking sound, you know, and you also have that right hand, you know, palm here where you hit the string, hit the guitar. But it's much easier to hear if you're plugged in, of course. So we have different techniques there, you know, on the right hand. But that's really where you're gonna put the focus, and then it's gonna the goal is to make it swing, and that's what I'm trying to do with my fingers. You know, we're trying to get that sound of a, you know, guitar player, bass player, and percussionist, or maybe, you know, piano player, bass player, and percussionist. So with the right hand, you know, you can focus on you know, the first exercise is just playing the bass line. Something like that. So, but then we're gonna focus on getting the chords to ring out, and you can start off by trying to get the chord to ring out the whole bar like this: 3, 4. something like that, you know. And the next step, you can try a more syncopated rhythm like this, maybe 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 3, 4. Then I use my fingers to get, you know, ba-da, and then the bass line should stay the same. So it's a tricky thing, but you do it slow, 3, 4. And that's a good thing. If I speed it up, 3, 4. And maybe you can change rhythm and play like ba 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 ba, something like that. 3, 4. So when you start to blend all those rhythms, that's when it starts to sound interesting, because then you're sounding more free. It sounds more like a music, like a trio, you know, with different instruments. so that's the goal. So I'm gonna play through a couple of times, just adding different rhythms like this. 1, 2, 3. So something like that, you know, you can blend every rhythm, all those rhythms, and the great thing is to practice. I think just to practice it really slowly and different rhythms, you know, and not rush it. Just play it really slow, and then put on the metronome. 2, 4, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. And that's a great practice tool to make it, you know, try to make it swing with the metronome. It's a tricky thing. And then record yourself practicing with the metronome. That's the most scary thing to do, because then you hear where you're rushing it. And I do that all the time. I rush it, and sometimes I fall back behind, and that's natural. Everyone does that, but it's a good thing to practice and recording yourself, so you know what you need to work on. That's a good thing. So yeah. So that's the right hand and the syncopated rhythm. The left hand is really nothing special. I just the one thing that I use that I lift up the hand a little bit between the chords sometimes. So that we have so that when I lift the hand up, you know, when I lift it up, then it's gonna, the strings are gonna stop ringing. So that's a good thing to practice, because you don't want it to ring out. You know, you don't want any unnecessary like sounds from the strings. You want to be able to lift up the hand when you're muting the strings. So you have more control in your left hand. So that's what you do. You know, when you're playing like a rhythm like this. Then you have like, you lift the hand like this, you kind of move it like this to get the strings to stop ringing. Otherwise it's gonna sound weird, you know. So that's a good thing to remember with the left hand. But left hand is all about learning more chords, more variations, so that you're more free, so that your bass line can move. Even if you're up here, I need a D7 sharp 9 with a sharp 5 up here, where am I? Okay, so that's the chord, and the bass note is here. So you can go 3, 4 from the D7 to the G chord. So, and of course it's always good to know a lot of inversions of the chord, because then you can really move around, you know, with the chords. So you know what I mean by different inversions is that you should be able to play the chord with the root in the bass, like A minor 7 like this. And then maybe with a third in the bass, like this, and then with the fifth in the bass, and with the seventh in the bass, so that you know where the chords are. And the same with the D7, you know, in different spots on the neck. Whoops, that's high up. Like that. So we have different inversions of each chord, and then when you know where those are, it's easier to move around, you know. So anyways, I hope you've learned something by this little lesson. I hope that if you have questions, you can just always reach out to me on my website, www.emilernebro, which is EMILERNEBRO.com. That's where you can find my contact page where you can send emails to me, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And okay, so I'm happy that you've watched this whole lesson. If you're still here, good work. So let's get that thumb to work on that clicking sound, and then I will see you in the future. I hope I'll see you soon again. Bye bye.